I picked up that the parents will be speaking about other parents in the presence of the child of the children. So when the children goes to the team setup, they come with that thing. And then some of them will say, "I come from a rich family." With soccer, I don't want to offend anyone, but I think the guys mostly are curious. If you look at it holistically, most of them are just following the tournaments where they gamble. Team brings 5,000 and they at 12, then the winner takes all. Or number one gets 50 or something like that. So that they are trapped in that department. So as
But the industry has opened up to. I think South Africa is when you wake up, you snooze your alarm, but maybe for like 2 or 3 times. I think we've done that as a country. We were supposed to pick up a wake up call a long time ago, and we didn't. Now the unfortunate part is that our kids are becoming smarter by the day, and them becoming smarter requires parents to keep up. We are on the edge of AI where certain skills will not be needed as much. I'm not saying that they're not needed. Quote me out of context. Not as much as like you were saying with accounting. There's just now it's expanded. I've seen the Minister of Sports speaking about transformation within cricket, especially the national team. Now, wanted to ask your take on that. Do you think there's ever going to be transformation? What transformation was he talking about?
to be honest with you, I really feel sorry for the white guys. Like this situation is very. I was able to sit with some of them when we could only select 6 of them, and you have 15 of them who are talented
And very good.
and very good. Yeah. And then you have to select another 6 blacks who don't even, if you were honest as a coach, you were not going to select them. You would rather go with a white only team. It is the situation that we find ourselves in as a country.
Sure. This is In Conversation. And today, after a long period of us having a discussion about this day, after a long period of us talking about making it happen, it is finally happening. Oh, it's been a minute, man. It's been a minute. People don't know this, but I've known this gentleman for many, many years. And in those many, many years, he has been involved in many, many things. Some of them have seen daylight. Some of them are still working in progress. Some of them, we buried them last week. But we were singing Baneban Tusabatsamaile to those projects. Possibly those projects were going to take him somewhere. But anyway, look, his name is not David. Right? Let me just put it out there. His name is not David. His name is Dafita Mainaakae. And like I said, he's been involved in many projects. And I'm grateful to have you today.
Yeah, no, I'm actually grateful to be here.
I don't know why I feel so good about having you today because you've had a similar city before.
You are actually that friend that I don't like, but for some reason, destiny always fits it today. It's like when the doctor said, "Don't drink Coke," but you continue drinking, and you even tell Coke, "I'm going to drink first." Then the doctor says,
Man, I mean, the doctor will say, not eat meat, you're going to die. You'll be there looking at the meat. This is the last time I'm eating you. But anyway, I'm happy that it's finally happening. I'm happy that we are finally having a sit down. It's windy, it's nice, we are outside. We spoke about this thing and we took an angle. And you're wearing the regalia.
Dafita Rovers.
First of all, I love the logo. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I mean, I don't want to ask how you came up with the name Dafita. He's a cricket coach, by the way. That is one project that I've seen him sweating so far. Welcome, Matt. Welcome.
I'm actually excited also to be here.
Very good. Now, I said you have many projects. You've been very busy, man. You've been very busy. And now this one seems like I think you're going 4 years or 3 years.
It's actually 4 years now.
Damn it.
If we count seasons, then it's the 5th season playing cricket.
Wow.
Yeah, like we spoke about it that I've been doing many things, but not many of them have seen light, or those who have seen light could not be sustained.
Yes, yes.
So this one is the reason why I think is different is I think this one is a poly.
Okay.
Yeah, because I never remember we used to talk about it a lot. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I think I was born with it, and what actually makes it unique is working with the young ones.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Yes,
it's actually what brings peace, what bring peace to my life. As hard as the project is, if I don't continue with it, I stand to lose a lot. No, not money.
yeah.
If the project dies, uh, young children are going back to the street.
Hmm.
Those hopeful cricketers will never see themselves in any competition, because one of the reasons that I started this team was when I was growing up, there were no facilities.
Mm.
There was no one. They were the guys that at that time you know about them who tried, but we were practicing for the whole year. And that used to be very section. And
Yes.
yeah, the first 3 months we'll be very excited and we'll be promised games.
Trips.
And those games actually never materialize.
I still see these guys around here, and I'm very, very angry at them somehow.
Yeah, I actually don't blame them.
Yeah.
It's not easy in this industry. Cricket is the way I see it in this country is being privatized.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even the black community that gets to be around it and be fortunate to have facilities, they privatize them.
Oh yeah.
So
I noticed that.
yeah, this industry is the most difficult industry to get in. Unlike soccer, you get many teams anyway. We're not saying soccer is easy, although I still believe that the guys who are developing soccer are not doing it right at all.
But do you think there's a development though? Because what I've seen is that I'm seeing players just mushrooming. Maybe I'm not following them the way that I should, but I've seen players just mushrooming out of nowhere, and then you hear that this player is from Soweto, this player is from so and so. Do you maybe know the process that maybe a young player out there might follow if they are maybe they want to play soccer? Let's just start with soccer.
Yeah, I think with soccer, I don't want to offend anyone, but I think the guys mostly are curious.
Oh yeah.
If you look at it holistically, most of them are just following the tournaments where they gamble, where team brings 5,000 and they at 12, then the winner takes all.
Oh yeah.
Or number one gets 50 or something like that. So that they are trapped in that department. So as a result, it becomes money centered,
Oh yes.
where people want to reap the benefits. So you end up going to a situation where you win at all costs, because now gambling is if and then if you go to the teams that look like they are trying to get it right, then you find average age there, you find 25 peak.
Oh, they're already old. Yeah.
Already old. If they are young ones, they're not believed in.
Yeah.
But that one is not a soccer problem. I think it's a country problem where only few club believes in youngsters. But the guys here are not developing young ones. And I think the whole culture of sport in our village in particular and in the black community, I think is long dead. It's long dead to a place, a situation where if anyone wants to develop anything, then the obstacles are there already.
Oh, there's sort of like
A lot of them.
yeah, you can just start, but you must know that the wall, you're going to hit the wall somehow.
Even if you have money, you're still going to struggle. Mindsets of the parents, the mindsets of the schools, the mindsets of the officials, and South Africa is sitting with a problem of having to employ people who are not so passionate about sports to run the administration of sports. So they end up actually not getting it right. And sometimes you don't know what to say because now we live in a political environment. So
that's true.
you need to be careful of what you say to people.
Yeah.
Like, for example, just the simple things. If you go to the Department of Sports and ask them, what is your program? For the past 5 years, do you have something that you have sustained? Uh, can I have your written place? How many young people can you show to the rest of the world? This is what I've done. I tell you, I think few of them will show you anything. And we also have the political rotation where this group is coming with this, when the other group is coming, there's no development. And we no longer have those teachers in school where they are passionate about soccer in that school.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And they will stay until late with the players.
Yes.
And now we're in a situation where every student now is traveling. You find players from class students from current traveling to town. So
Yes.
China time taxis are here. So our system is a mess. And from there, we want to compete with the white community
Oh yeah.
at the same level. Now, when the Olympic squad is announced, people are surprised that the squad is white dominated, color dominated, and Indians dominated. But when you ask them, what have you done? They will say the government. That is the government. Yeah, that's the problem now. At schools, I'm actually curious. So when it comes to school, maybe I'm not properly schooled. Currently, the learners are not resting. Some of them classes starts at 7 and they end at 5,
Even on weekends, they're all.
Monday to Sunday.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm not schooled enough to understand the system they came up with. Schools are results orientated. All they want is good performance. Everyone wants to be known to be producing distinctions.
That's true.
You get my point.
That's
So the way I see it, I'm not sure who are the people who are making those decisions and what are the decisions based on. Look, in life we have a hierarchy of needs like this. So in those steps, a human being has a need to belong to a religious group.
Oh yeah.
And they have a need to belong to a social group. You get my
Yeah. Yeah.
So if they are always at school, you are now killing their religious need. Because some of them will go to church on Saturdays. They can't go because now you are calling them to school on Saturday. Some of them needs to go and play to show their talents, and you kept them at school. You get my point. So even if there's a teacher who wants to develop a sport or any sport in any school, then they are faced with a situation whereby they will always be in trouble for taking the students out of learning time.
Oh yeah.
You see, so I think as a society, particularly as Black people, we need to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
Are we still on the right track? There's this trend which I've seen when I was in my 20s. When you get to the universities, you find these young children who are fresh from the university. You see, there's a sigh of relief that they are now free.
Yeah.
So they start doing everything excessively. They will drink too much. If they start to date, they will date too much. Anything they do too much. Then by that time I did not understand. Maybe I said, maybe they coming from strict families. Oh, it's all that they come from strict everything.
Yeah, street school, street fair, street, just anything was just stressed out.
They didn't play.
Yeah.
You see.
Yeah.
So the society is becoming so serious to a point where they are actually taking away the fun part from the children.
Yeah.
Children should be allowed to have fun.
No, that's true.
Yeah, they should actually play and learn through playing and have fun in everything they do. So now a child cannot have fun because everyone is expecting them to be perfect. Science teacher, everyone wants them to do maths and science. Everyone wants them to be perfect in everything they do. So the children, we kill their thinking ability.
The psyche also. Now you find yourself having kids who are from different backgrounds. Since what you're talking about this one, who are taught in a different form. For example, you find a child not knowing that bullying is a problem because where they come from, it's culture, and you are supposed to train these kids and develop them into stars, and they they are so. I think I've seen a couple of them who have sort of like thrown in the tower. They didn't see themselves outside of a village or outside of a certain area because of the history that they have seen with their brothers and sisters and all those other ones who have came before them. Now, you are faced with that as a coach and as somebody who's starting to develop a scarce sport in this area. Um, how tough of a job is that for you?
It's actually very, very, very tough. I was actually given a title by the senior players.
Mhm.
They call me mentor.
Okay.
Yeah. The reason why they call me mentor is because I actually don't want to coach. And the reason why I coach is there are few people who wants to coach the boys and the girls.
Mm.
I actually don't want to coach. I just want to coach as and when I have time, and I want to coach as and when I feel like uh, I see myself as a developer. I actually want to be given space to negotiate on behalf of the team.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Focus on the future. Focus on drafting the vision and readjusting it every now and then. But coming to your question is, for you to coach a successful team. Remember, according to me, a successful team is not a winning team.
Mm.
A successful team is a team that can come together and work on the obstacles together
Oh,
until
yeah.
they get the winning formula.
Mm.
So it actually this team actually requires us to invite the stakeholders. We need to have psychologists
Mm.
in these teams. We need to have team doctors. We need to have dietitians. We need to have physios, a whole number of things.
Yeah.
The reason why I mentioned the mental part of it is when you coach a child, you cannot successfully coach them until you know where they come from,
Oh.
how they see life. Because a lot of things in the team will be happening. Some of them sometimes they'll come to you very happy. Most of the time very disturbed. So you need to know because you can't coach a disturbed child.
It's typical.
So it actually forces you to then go deeper and try and find out in a softer way. So for you to do that, you need to create a safe space so the child should feel like they can tell you anything and they will still be safe, they'll still be protected. Some of the information they tell you, they don't want their parents to know. So it's very difficult. I've seen a situation whereby a gossip in the village translates into the team.
If like find his way.
It always finds its way because you are your family.
Yeah.
Uh, in as much as we don't want to accept it, but you are your father, you are your mother,
Yeah.
whether you like it or not. And remember to actually reset yourself from your father and your mother. Then you need to restart life from the scratch.
Yeah.
But when your reset phase, the only fallback is how you were raised. You get my point.
Mm.
So there was a time when one of the child, his grandmother is perceived as a witch.
Mm.
So me not knowing, I just come and coach them, you see.
Yes.
But one of them is not happy. And eh, every time the team tables is not speaking,
Yeah.
he's just sitting alone, you see. But then some of the coaches picked it up to say, but there's something wrong with this guy. So he always came with uh, the techies which are not,
Yeah, in
up to
order.
standard and stuff like that. The coaches said, no, man, let's come together. And they started buying things and stuff like that. And then that thing forced us to dig deeper into the players, all of them.
You became psychologist by default.
Yeah, and then we picked up that this other one does not live with well with this one because now in the village they see their mother is a witch,
Shame.
and they actually told him it will amount to nothing. So you think those things only happens in TV until you meet them, and then you are in a situation you need these two players. This one is bullying this one, and most of it is because how their parents do.
Yeah.
So I picked up that the parents will be speaking about other parents in the presence of the child of the children. So when the children goes to the team setup, they come with that thing. And then some of them will say, "No, I come from a rich family." And some of them don't want to share. So they will be coming with nice things to the team. And remember, you are carrying, you have most of the team, the players that cannot afford
Yeah.
to have a lunch during travel, and the team cannot afford it too. So you are trying to bring the sharing spirit where they contribute a little of what they have. So it's actually very tough to manage the young ones in such a way that they always represent their parents.
They're sort of like an extension.
They are sort of an extension, and they come from a a difficult background. Most of them, their parents did not play sports, and they always see sports as time wasting.
And on was part cricket.
The worst part, cricket. Where is this sports going to take you? So, but the one reason I love this job of cricket development is the challenges that comes with it. Now, it's your team that you need to develop to compete. And you know the funny part is the people who are already developed will love it too,
Yeah.
and they will see you as a joker, as somebody who is trying to do. It's like they were saying to me, "Have you seen a cricketer coming from Tau?
You can never win.
You can never win." They don't say that to you. It's like when somebody appears to help you,
But they don't really help.
but they don't really help. You get my point?
Yeah.
But what also helped me, it's me being born as a believer. I hear that people need to be born again and stuff like that. Okay, which is a topic for another day. But I personally believe I was born a believer. It's not something I had to learn. Naturally, I could easily blend in a church, then I can easily blend in outside.
Yeah.
So believing was something that I was not taught. It's something that I also did not teach myself. Something that just free flow.
I think also it's because of evidence that we believe.
You get my point.
That you have seen certain things happen in a realm of belief.
Yeah, and yeah, I like the realm part of it. So now, amid everything that is taking place, you still believe you'll get help. Sometimes it will be Friday and there's no money for the team to travel tomorrow, but we still believe and we still tell the opponent we are coming.
We are there like, don't worry.
Don't worry. And they ask you, you'll hear, man. They don't believe I'm telling you. Then, and guess what? We have always been to those games. There are times we have not been to a game. It's when the rain stopped traveling,
Okay.
or the opponent was not available to play. We even went to the games and said to the driver, "We don't have money today, but we are taking us." But for some reason, they believed in us. They believe we will pay. So I think it's I believed in magic. I will say this team survived up until now by magic.
But tell me, starting out Dafita Rovers, I understand that. I think the Bible also said men cannot live with food only. But why is it for you? I understand that it's passion, But I listening to you, I'm picking up that this is bigger than cricket. You know, for most kids, this is a way of escaping a certain mentality or a certain lifestyle, especially when they're still young. But for you to, because I understand there's a lot of financial investment, there's time, your time away from your family, your time away from your own job that you do, to focus on these kids and be able to travel with them. Um, what, where do you get the energy from to sort of divide yourself into a couple of pieces and start the Dafita Rovers from scratch?
To be honest, I don't know. As a society, there are words we cannot use because if you use them, you'll be harshly judged. So most of the time, we tiptoe around what the society wants. I'll tell you later why I say that. But there was a point where I actually wanted to close down the team because it trained me financially.
Was it you giving up or?
Yeah, it was me giving up. That team that this team drained me like financially, emotionally, and spiritually. In the process, I lost friends, I lost money, a lot of it. So when people say I want to get rich through cricket, I laugh like literally.
It's getting rich through me.
No, it's because now I'm using my children's money to do my things now. But now the funny part is the very same people that I'm worried that I'm spending their money when I wanted to quit, they said, no, you can't.
But how?
And then they said, no, you are in too deep. You have spent a lot of money into the project. You have been far away from us for a long time to a point where we now are in love with the team and we are part of the team. Only for you to cash it now, you can't. And then one of my coaches said, Coach, your team cannot be successful if there's no story to tell. Then I privately cried just through that statement. He said, look, if you today you start a team and tomorrow is successful, who is going to believe in, who is going to want to follow you?
Yeah.
You see, he said, no, God wants you to later tell the story how you struggled.
So it's Moses type of a thing. Moses is not everything, but once
He wants it. And he didn't even believe in that state.
he didn't even know that he was carrying something very powerful.
He found all the reasons not to do the job. God said, no, you'll do the job. So the guy said, and then the guys around me are the ones who actually kept me going. And some of them out of nowhere, they'll just send random messages. And they'll say, coach, ever since I joined this team, at least I have direction in life. I know what I want. I'm like, what? So we have abusive parents, and we mostly have abusive fathers to their children. So what happens is, you see this child is not progressing, and then when you get deeper, the problems are not with the books. The problem are not with his mind or her mind. The problem are always is family centered.
We've just unplugged her.
You get my point.
Yeah.
So the more complex their lives started to unfold before my eyes, when I saw that this job is bigger than me. It's what I want to wake up every day. If wishes were horses, then I'll just ride and become a rich sports developer and have camps or have clubhouses where talented players go there. The reason why I said that sometimes we are afraid to talk about other things is I actually don't believe in education in a format in which it is presented to us.
Oh yes.
But then if I say so, and some of the principals hear what I'm saying. When I get to the school and ask for students, then they'll refuse to release them because of my position.
Oh yeah.
You see, they will take me out of context to say I'm saying I don't want children to be educated. But I personally would then believe in a education in the South African setup,
Yeah.
where we claim about the crocodiles and how many years they can live and stuff like that. In most cases, I like to experiment with my children because no one is going to blame me. Sometimes I pay attention, a lot of attention to them. And I can relate to how I live, how my brothers live, and stuff like that. And I see we can become rich because the reason why we all want to go to school, we can sign and decorate it. But we want to make money out of it.
No, true. There's no way you're going to go to school for free.
You get me? So making money does not necessarily mean you need to go to the university. And trust me, there's nothing wrong go by going to the university. Do you know parents will be mad if their children say to them, I mean, I want to be an artist.
Yeah.
Say there is no future. There is no future there. You can't tell me about acting.
Yeah.
Yeah, go do what I say you do, and you can do your acting after. So the parents don't believe in it. So with me, I went to school. I did not school as much as I wanted to. You know, I had dreams to. I'm actually called a professor by how I was presenting myself back then. You know, I always believe that if you want to become something, you need to go to the end of your dream first. See how it's going to look like, and then you come back and then relive and live
And start
towards, because you know then what is waiting for you. Only for me to discover in my 30s that I actually did everything wrong. It's not like I wanted to be an accountant or I wanted to be the things that I am today. You know, I wanted to be a free range. I wanted to have fun. You know, my mother taught me how to sell tomatoes. I was supposed to have stayed with that. I was supposed to sell tomato. Remember, no one can survive without it.
Yeah, I was telling somebody the other day that if you go to Joburg or if you go to any place that is a metro, it's very busy. You find that tables lined up.
And at the end of them make money every
And when they make money,
there is potato there is tomato. So I then later said, no, I was wrongly advised. Man. They said when they were presenting this trend through career guidance, they see, no, you know, as an accountant, then accountants, they were earning a lot of money. And there was a still shortage of blacks. There still is, not as much as
before.
Now, now I love money, you see. So I'm like, you mean that if I just add numbers and I go through the most difficult part of school, then I'll make this much? And they say yes. But then they were lying to me. You see, by the time I finished the degree, the industry was already polluted with people like me. A lot of us were there. No jokes were there. For the longest time, to a point where that thing nearly caused a depression. You see. But then, if I was allowed to live as a free ranger, then I would know that if you just take tomatoes and you stay on the street, you're not stupid.
You are not.
You are actually providing a solution to the problem people experience, because now when they are busy and then they just get from where they just want to find tomatoes lying around, they pick them and go. So you are providing solution. So the society always see people who are selling tomatoes as low lives.
But the industry has opened up to. I think South Africa is you know, when you wake up, you snooze your alarm, but maybe for like 2 or 3 times. I think we've done that as a country. We were supposed to pick up a wake up call a long time ago, and we didn't. Now the unfortunate part is that our kids are becoming smarter by the day, and them becoming smarter requires parents to keep up. You know, we are on the edge of AI, where certain skills will not be needed as much. I'm not saying that they're not needed. You quote me out of context. Not as much as like you were saying with accounting. There's just now it's expanded. And I love the fact that you are experimenting with your own kids. That one I love. because I sometimes also do the same. But now you say parents parents are restrictive of what their kids can become sometimes. You find that you maybe it's because out of fear sometimes that we say go and do this and then after that you'll do that, and sometimes it's just out of not understanding, what is it that you can actually do. So now you having said that you are experimenting with your own kids, and I love the fact that they're also part of the Dafita Rovers. They're growing up in cricket.
Very well. So now this other one is an artist. So what I usually do when we have free time, I take him to small printing. Then the many other guys who are passionate about art. So he can see how art. So I am trying to stimulate what he already likes.
You're exposing him to his own.
Yeah. So in as much as I also want him to go to school, good schools if I can, pass with good grades, but it's not guaranteed. So if he does not pass with good grades, it doesn't mean he's a failure. You see. Now I already want him to have a backup plan where if my child said to me, Dad, I don't want to go to school for 2 years, I just want to experiment. I'll say, I've got you. Go do what you want. If there's anything Daddy can do to help, let me know. You see. So I wish to see parents like that where they try and understand. You see, sometimes, a dream is very difficult.
Yeah, especially to maintain.
It's difficult, to maintain with something else. It's even biblical. The dream, where there was an actual dream where somebody said, no, God showed me something and I was the boss. They said, what the hell? You were a boss. And the father was offended, but then he did not show it.
Yeah.
Joseph said, no, man, maybe my boy is going somewhere, but how dare he says, I'm going to kneel down before him. But then the father was smart about it.
Yeah, that was insult right there.
And he sort of appeared to believe in him, but then the siblings did not.
Yeah.
And they sold him, and they were so bitter to a point where they wanted to kill him.
Yeah.
So if you take that story to our everyday lives, the problem with the dream is it is only understood by the dreamer. You see. Oh, so if somebody says to you, for my dream to be successful, I need to sleep outside for 10 days, you're like, are you mad? And you see, they're not mad. Like, it's what they want to do, and it's 10 days. And you don't believe it. After they've slept outside for 10 days, the dream will be realized. But the dream will be realized. You just don't know.
You just don't know.
And it looks insane, you see. And then you'll be labeled a big dreamer, a chance taker. In our village, there was this Braden.
Yes. I used to love Braden.
If Braden was in a wide community,
Yeah.
he was going to be a very successful. I believe you. I believe that if he had got support from us,
Yeah.
we were going to have our Roger Federers.
I was used coached by him tennis, and I remember it is the same thing that you are doing. There's no difference really. These are just two men who are
different
from kids. You are trying to impart knowledge on kids. I'm happy that I am able to tell this story because I was there and I was part of those kids who were trained by him. And I remember there was a point where we were very hungry as kids. I'm sure there's 80 of us. This is just one person. 80 kids, and they're all hungry. He just went to the store, bought 10 loaves, and by then loaf was like 5 rand, bought 10 loaves and milk. And after we ate, we started playing again. Now I can serve. I know what serve means. I know how to play tennis. I know this is exactly what I say to you when I say the fact that you're experimenting with your kids is a bonus. And for the fact that now I'm getting into this one, the parents of the kids. How do you work with the parents? Because believing with something else, when they let their kids travel with you, when they let you handle their kids and discipline them the way that you see fit, How is the corporation? Are they involved in any way, or is it just you and other coaches?
Yeah, you see, when talking about the parents of the players, it's, it's a situation where I need to actually listen to myself what I say and what I must not say. It's very difficult. But then the most important thing that we are always grateful for as management and coaches is the availability of players.
Yes.
That is the most important thing. You know, with the parents is you have that 10% of parents who are trying with really trying, and you say, God, why can't you give those ones that are trying money, and those with money, yeah. And uh, with the parents, it's so worse to a point where when they can realize that you are desperately need their children, they frustrate you. You know, that situation is so difficult in such a way that year in, year out, I fight with the parents. Some of them I will even go to their house and say, I want this child now. Uh, there was this young, talented girl. That girl was talented. That girl was a leg spinner, and that leg spinning just came naturally.
Which are very scarce, by the way.
We are very scarce in the country. Then I started talking to the people I know, to say, guys, this girl is beyond my standard. Please, can we find ways to take her off my hands so she can go to the right places? You see, there are players who love this team to a point where they don't want to leave, and I also don't want them to play for this team because this team is still at the lowest level.
Yes.
So there are players where I feel like they deserve the best schools. You see, but then it is what it is. Now, when the parents pick up that you love their children and you praise them on social media, that's why we are so sensitive for praising children.
Yes.
So when they pick up that their children is the most talented now in the team, then now they will start to have other reasons. They will have no family commitments that they need to attend to. And then sometimes they did not hear the alarm, the children could not wake up, or they really had to travel. You will struggle. To be honest, I met another gentleman, the Ghanaian guy from. He's currently in Switzerland. I don't know how I happened to forget his name. So one day he said with me, that's why I said this job is actually God-given job. I always find someone who will always say something that will help us and that will make us strong and survive all the storms. He said to us, to me in particular, not all the parents are going to help you. And most of them are able, some of them cannot, even if they wanted to. Some don't even believe in your dreams. They just avail their children. So don't allow them to frustrate you to a point where you can't develop. So I know they are going to frustrate you to a point where you want to chase away their children. Don't do it. And I didn't know why out of the blue he said that. But then as the days unfolded, then I said, oh yeah, it was a prophecy. So it becomes realized that I live, and those important things I tell to the coaches. So and they also see them, and the whole setup of the team is difficult. Um, Cricket is very expensive, just to take a learner. So sometimes now I don't blame them because remember, you have 100 rand there. You need to pay electricity, you need to pay bills, you need to eat, and then what a coach of cricket then say to you, I want 500. We're not going to give them that 500 because even if it's there, cricket is less important to what they need to run their household. So it's a 50-50 situation. Sometimes they can't. Sometimes you cannot invest in something you don't believe in. You see. So here's my hope. My hope is to have these children grow up under the leadership of the team. For them later then to become parents who will help their children to do well in sport. You see, that's my hope. With the parents I have, I'm not hopeful because of where they come from. I don't blame them.
You know, sometimes I forget how frank you can be. I think before we started this interview, I was supposed to sort of like tweak you, and I know I couldn't do that. But I love the fact that you are being honest as far as their corporation is concerned, because we need to bring change. I'm not saying that they don't have other struggles they are facing, but I'm saying the struggles do not have to deter the child's vision, because cricket is as a sport like any other sport, and it takes a kid out of certain things that it will be involved in.
You see, that's why I actually don't agree. Cricket is not less sport like any other sports. That is the best sports that everyone must play, even if they're not going to play it in the elite level. But I, the white community, what they do is in 4 terms they play different sporting codes. So and then later on, I'm not sure about the age. What the coaching development plan says from sporting unions, where they say from, I think it was from 14, around 17, and then specialization takes.
Yeah.
And then the children would have been exposed to a large number of sports equality activities, and then they know what they cannot do. So I think every child should play cricket, even if it's not as a specialized sporting code. Because trust me, in sporting codes, there's a lot of things to analyze. Now, when my children come back from the game, I ask them, how much did you score? And he will not be proud of his score. He'll say, hey, Daddy, okay, I scored 4 runs. Like, and then how did you get out? And then they still start to explain a whole number of things why they got out. Oof. And I say, this is brilliant. You see, they did that ball termed, and it's things like that. That there's no you play where you will play cricket and you don't become analytical.
Wow. I remember growing up, people thought we went to private school because I could bowl, I could bat, and I knew the positions. So you meet. I remember I grew up in I don't know if I should say multiracial area where there were Indians and Pakistanians and Nigerians. It was just a lot of us. And mind you, what I've seen is you're right. They will have a chance. You find a child going to school with 20 bags of rugby, soccer, cricket, hockey, you name them. They carry those bags. And when you go to a place like Portchester, they have facilities there which are developed, such facilities by government, where sometimes we do not have access to. We need to travel, and I've been blessed to experience special kids with special needs. Those kids can play everything, like everything. They play cricket. Or when you want them at soccer, they at cricket. When you want them at Blackpool, when you want them, they play everything. Is it us who are limiting our kids, um, emotionally or otherwise? Are we saying we are limiting our kids from exploring, or is it because of our financial limits?
I can't really say we are limiting them, because we ourselves come from a limited space.
That's true.
You see. So if you come from a limited space, we cannot expect you in most cases to then later produce without limit.
Yeah.
Now, to be honest, I'm not really sure what's going on with us, especially as Black community. Sometimes I ask myself, were we created as the last crop where God said this was?
I didn't have enough to create them.
It's like I'm not sure if apartheid system, because I am apparently, according to historians, it lasted for over 100 years.
Yes.
So I'm not sure if we're still suffering from
The symptom.
the mindset,
Yeah.
because if you can listen to what apartheid did to our parents, you'll be very shocked. How they were forced to live,
Yeah.
what sport they could play,
what
what professions they can follow. So I'm not sure if I should blame that apartheid system, or must I blame creation. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. You see, if you can design a nice location. Okay, let's say sports facilities, state of the art. Nay, you give it to black elders to manage it and use it with their children. How long do you think that state of the art facility will last? I am not long.
Let us be fair. I don't even think it will be incomplete. I think it will remain incomplete with what I have seen around.
Or let's say for some reason there is magic and we found it, we find it complete here.
Not long.
It won't last.
It won't last.
First of all, the elder who is appointed to manage that facility will eat the money. There won't be money for any games. And then you just organize some few games and boom. I really don't know if it's from the political spectrum where people just steal, you know. I really don't know.
Okay. 2 questions before we end our discussion. I've seen the Minister of Sports speaking about transformation within cricket, especially the national team. Now, wanted to ask your take on that. Do you think there's ever going to be transformation? What transformation was he talking about?
To be honest with you, I really feel sorry for the white guys, you know. Like this situation is very. I was able to sit with some of them when we could only select 6 of them, and you have 15 of them who are talented
And very good.
and very good. Yeah. And then you have to select another 6 blacks who don't even, if you were honest as a coach, you weren't going to select them. You would rather go with a white only team. It is the situation that we find ourselves in as a country. And you know, current team was what was that team that was points were taken from them because they could not play. And then the Dolphins then had to go through because I'm not sure if it was the Warriors or what that team. To me, the coach has a point. He said, I made a cricket decision. I did not have black spinners, and I wanted to attack that to go into that game with a speed. And I don't have black players who can speed in my team. Then you can also say, but now he's not getting more blacks so that he can play more whites. We are going to always politic around it.
Oh yeah.
But to be honest, as black players, we're not ready. According to me, the quota should have been reduced to say, let's have 3 pairs. You see, personally, I would want to go to a World Cup with the best squad. So you won't blame a coach if I say I want only whites because I don't see a black talented blacks. You see, because to be honest with you, the schools that develop cricket are very expensive.
Very.
And
Very.
in the community in which we live, the existence of sport, not only cricket, is close to zero. You get my point. And then you'll have Minister Mackenzie, and you'll have Comrade Fikile Mbalula. Proudly so, they should take a mic, go to a national TV and say, we're going to deal with them. So they don't take this transformation very serious. You know, sometimes I laugh. You're like, this guy, what is he taking us from? You see? Look, those guys are sitting in a strategic positions with resources.
Yeah, what resource?
They're coming from political powers. They are able to push the political will. They are able to go to the Department of Education to say sports is compulsory and every school must have games. They can't do that. Then what do? Nothing. If you can, we can call Comrade Fikile and Comrade Mackenzie to say, Comrade, fellow South Africans.
Now you're calling the president also.
You know, the most important people in this country. You have money. Build stadiums for us. Build proper sports facilities and give them under the curatorship of them. We are okay. We are equal to be blamed because we vandalize them. But as you will find just a wall being erected and they say it's a sports facility. That is not a sports facility.
It's just a wall around.
It's just a wall around.
Distance.
You get my point. So honestly speaking, I would like to see the quota system being destroyed. But then if I say so, then we will never have black people in that squad because there's not transformation taking place. So now if we say to the unions, say you must have a black player, at least we're forcing someone to have blacks.
Yeah.
But then I also don't believe they are developed genuinely. You see, the other problem we have is if you go to many unions, it's also balanced.
Yeah.
You have whites leading the unions and you have blacks leading the unions. But then the blacks are actually stealing. We have a situation in Northern Cape where a black guy, you're not sure of the allegations, but then the court said, no, you must be, you were elected, illegally elected, and those things that were brought against you, you are guilty of. Then it is the court of law. It means evidence is presented. You see, so we can safely say the very same people we trust to develop sports are not generally there in those offices to develop it.
I think in South Africa is suffering from the sickness of employment. Hated. I'm not saying that it's a rubbish system, but I think deploying somebody without sports interest to a position that needs you to be fully equipped or aware or passionate about sports also is a problem. I mean I cannot be taken to soccer just because I did
You're political connected to somewhere. Look, now I believe in politics, and if a young person comes to me and say, I don't believe in politics, I get so worried because it is the politicians that runs the world, whether you like it or not. Will I support deployment 100%? Even in my team, I deploy. But then the thing is, don't deploy according to favors to say like I owe you. You see, I still get very shocked that in our country we have a minister of defense with no military experience at all. You get my point.
that frustrates me.
You get my point.
Yeah.
So now, if you can take, let's say in this country we have people like Makantini, soccer we have Lucas Radebe, and many are Benny McCarthy and many other players who were able to do. And do you think if we can pick up one of them has got brains? Because again, we need also to judge the playing part of it, and you being a person with brains and you can put things together. Look, if you played cricket to a level where Makantini has played and we invite you to the trials, you will know if we chose the wrong players. You get my point? Because you know the sport.
Yeah.
You see, you've got experience. So your decision making is also coupled with you being a player before. So it will not be wrong for African National Congress or whatever party to say, okay, Makantini, come and become a minister of sports. You get my point. And Benny, please come and become a minister of sports. And the politicians behind support him because now you will account to them. And when they plan, him not being a politician, you will tell them, okay, but this one is not possible, this one is possible, this one is the right one, this one is the wrong one. You get my point. And you will also call, and then his cabinet consists of past players from different sporting codes, and then you give them the sports department to run. Don't you think we're going to have a super structures?
I want somebody to say that is not the perfect plan. I want somebody to say that because we are failing as the result of not having the right people in different structures. So the last question that I'm going to ask last question, because I know very well that if I don't say that, they're never gonna say it. This is for your own good. Where is Dafita Rovers going?
This team is going far. My wish is 50 years, 100 years after I have died, this team is still there. You see, because the way from where I'm sitting and the people that I always attract into the team, they want what's best for. We want to be the best of the best. You see, I believe in dominance. If you are in any in industry and you don't have the intention of dominating, so leave it. So where do I see this team? I actually see this team stretching outside of town, where you have the Dafita Rovers in Kurumane, in a black community where those guys don't have anyone developing them. We want to see this team with luxurious buses. We want to see every player pulling their bags, quality bags, full of equipment. We see this team where it owns up to 5 grounds where we can host major tournaments. We actually see this team having its own cricket school. School of excellence where we develop cricket, and we are trusting the process. Look, with the level we have, we are already the champions of under 11 district. So imagine with nothing, we without any ground, and we can challenge the ones with facility, and we say we are here.
You want to speak to the coaches?
I actually don't want to speak to the coaches. I actually want to speak to the authorities. Look, there are more people like me in this country. Open doors, because if you open doors for people like me, you might personally hate me because I've got positions. Sometimes I hold positions, I hold opinions publicly, so and people hate me for it. Hate me is fine, and I believe there are many others, and I've seen many others who doors were shut on their face because of their position or of their opinions and how they view things, and the authorities closed doors for them. I'll say open doors. There is money. People say there's no money in the country. There is money. One day I suggested to someone to say, look, how much are you paying? Sometimes we get some of the assistance from Department of Sports once in a while. And then you ask, how much are you paying? And then you don't get told. But then you suggest, how about you pay that money directly into my bank account? And then from there I can report with the slips. You see, the department will pay, let's say, 6 or 7,000 to go to Mafike, for argument's sake, or 10,000. But I can go to the rank and get one of the brass to say, hey, we've got 2.5 man. Come to take us to Mafike. If he can't, then he knows somebody who desperately needs money, and they are able to take us there.
You're able to distribute that money to something.
And then they would spend, let's say, maybe 1,000 on fuel and 1.5 to them as a win. And when I said to you, give me the 10,000, then from that 10,000, I'll get 3 trips. You see? So the coaches' spirits are killed by lack of resources. So the coaches remember, they are volunteers, so they come into the organizations of sports motivated already. So there's no need for me to motivate them. If you can speak to my coaches now, they already know the kind of player they want to develop. They already know what teams to target and what teams are difficult. So those guys do their job. You get my point. But then, does the team now have money to help them realize the dreams? We don't. So one thing we did not speak about, it's us being able to help one another. Look, how many of us went back to the schools that we went to and you say, look, I'm giving you 20,000 because I care. This is what I want from the school. How many of us do that? Almost zero. Yes. So you see, so in closing,
But before you close, because I know you want to say something that will require us. I know I only said two, now I'm going to hope. How important is it? Because you're a married person and you have kids. How important is it for somebody like you? Because I know there are aspiring coaches out there who would want to start a team, whether it's chess, whether it's hockey, you name it, netball. How important is it to have a supportive spouse, especially now that we are growing up, want to get married? Speaking from your own experience.
I always say, marry your friend.
Thank you very much, people. They say, do what you love, and you'll never walk a day in your life. I think you found that.
Very well.
I think from everything that you've been doing, I think this is your playtime. This is how you have fun. Because somebody will ask you, what is it that you do for fun? Then he will say, coach cricket.
Yeah, and then we get to tour the country with the children, you know. 40 others playing in, let's say, in Cape Town, we just fly there.
He throws the country on a stream budget. You know, restricted budget. But it makes it happen.
Yeah, I see it happen. No, but if you don't make things happen, man, you will never enjoy life because now you always wait for that moment to come. Look, if you want to, and I always say, if you want to go and go to America, just say I'm going to America and you start applying for a visa and everything. And trust me, if you don't start applying without money, you will not go.
Hey, people, thank you very much for being part of. I think we are starting his journey. Some of us don't know him, some of us know him. But I think you will pick it up that he's passionate about what he's doing, and he's passionate about the kids. And I hope that they will grow up and say, if he was not for that guy, I wouldn't be where I am right now. I still see my teacher. God has kept them for me to experience and say that teacher used to beat me. I think that's the only reason. That's the only thing that we say. But we are growing up and we are realizing that it's possible for us to play cricket in town. If you don't know where Tao is, Google it. I'm sure Tao is on the map.
And they must also Google Dafita Rovers.
They will find it. If you're passionate about sports and you want to give, where can we get the figure?
Okay, Dafita Rovers can be found on the Dafita Rovers group, and they can also contact us. I think the last time I checked our website is down. I'll check with our technician. They can also go to the website as and when it's up, www.dafitarovers.co.za. They can also call us. When they go to that group, they will find the contact like 071 707 6543. Maybe we are lucky enough to have a director of a big company listening. You never know.
I love your t-shirts. Beautiful. I didn't say that I love your t-shirts. I'm wondering who designed them for you.
Yeah, we are born with class, you know. We only want the best. If the t-shirt is not nice and I cannot do flex with it, we don't bring it.
Hey people, let's see you on another video. Thank you very much for being part of Kelly. We'll see you again.